This will completely wipe out the meager 9% wage adjustment for 2026. Consequences: if the government does not listen to the call to withdraw the tariff hikes, they are going to cause: 1, escalating utility poverty, leaving more families unable to afford basic electricity. 2, collapse of SMEs, which form the backbone of our economy, due to unbearable operating costs. We are already experiencing a teeming unemployment youth in the country. Job losses as industries scale down or shut down operations. 4, reduced productivity and competitiveness, further weakening the economy. And then 5, heightened social and economic hardship, deepens the suffering of workers and households. These tariff hikes are not reforms, they are punishment. They are not solutions. They are symptoms of failed leadership and poor policy choices. We call on the government to immediately halt these incessant increases. The minority stands firmly with Ghanaian workers, households, small businesses, and industries struggling to survive. We will continue to use every legitimate parliamentary tool to demand fairness, transparency, and accountability in the management of the nation's utilities. Our position remains firm and non-negotiable. These tariff hikes must be reversed immediately, and measures must be taken to protect consumers and sustain businesses. Ghanaians deserve relief, not repeated shocks. They deserve leadership, not exploitation. And we, as the minority caucus, we will continue to hold this government accountable and defend the rights of the people. Thank you, members of the press.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Rankin. I think, do you want us to do the tree, or you take questions when we finish everything? Okay. So, committee members are here. We have our colleagues there. So whatever it is, all of us will be in to address you. Thank you. Okay, Brian. Yes.
Yeah, man. So, few hours here, the explanation is that every 5 years, what they do is a major tariff increment or review. And in between, we have the quarterly review. So the last time they did something this heavy was 5 years ago. What do you say to that explanation?
You say review. Yes. Review can be downwards or upwards. So why not downwards? If you listen carefully to what I was saying, I said our current demand is around 3,500 megawatts. And recently we were able to reach peak demand of 4,080 megawatts. So when you deduct 30% of what is going on waste, 30%, that's 12% to technical losses, 20% to commercial losses. Why are we still having commercial losses in this country? When will be the time that commercial losses will be thing of the past? So I quantify it. I said, if you quantify the current recent peak demand and the normal demand we have in the country, we are losing about 80 to 90 million US dollars. So tell me, can't we use this money to offload whatever cost or whatever debt we have? Every time, every day, all the time, we've been talking about losses, commercial losses, technical losses. But it seems nobody is taking serious account of it. And let me tell you, when you travel out to the countries that we are looking up to also do our own in a better way, you can never hear any commercial losses. They have zero commercial losses. What they have is minor technical losses. That is normal. That is why I didn't quantify the technical losses in terms of monetary terms. Rather, the 20% out of it, which is the commercial losses. We need to be serious about that. So if you say review, review can be downwards and upwards. So why don't you make it downwards? Because during President Nanado's time, there was a review on downwards. So this is what we are expecting. And as you said, the major, review. This year, how many times have we increased tariffs? So many. So should we continue doing that? We are killing our businesses. Thank you.
Okay. Let me.
Yeah, having a better class, you know, the commercial laws is not which has to do with the attitude of Ghanaians. People, when you look particularly, excuse me, sometimes from greater journalists, even the told that sometimes churches are involved, we have other individuals, sometimes not to do people involved in illegal connections, and this in the long run affect this or pile up this commercial losses. As a member of Parliament, Energy Committee, what would you also tell the Ghanaian, you know, towards the attitude that they have towards the use of this electricity?
My brother, recently they say some people have embezzled funds. What did you see? Rambo-style arrest. Eh? Why don't we use those measures also on those? Because $90 million or $80 million in a month, is it a small money? So we should have, as a government, should have a proper special task force operation in place, in charge of those things. I'm telling you, we should. I'm not saying the government is the cause of that. No, I'm saying this is what is in existence. So we should rather mobilize our strength towards attacking it. Because if not, all the time we'll be increasing tariffs. So we need to stop it. There should be a stop at some point. That is what we are calling for.
Okay. Just a second. Just to corroborate what our ranking had put out. When you have huge commercial losses like we have put across to you, what is the strategy by government, by ECG and Co to reduce this significantly so it doesn't become a burden to be pushed over to the Ghanaian consumer? And we know the effects of high electricity tariffs. We are indicating that it has gone up by almost 30%. This is 28%. That is extremely high in terms of a year when you have this significant increase. And so when you measure it against the commercial losses, and we were even reducing it by 5% or 10% over a period of time, then you realize that a time will come when these things will be a thing of the past. But to push all these losses away and then put it on the head of the consuming public who pays for, then that we think is very unfair. It is damaging industries, it is hurting the SMEs, and that is why we, as a minority caucus, think that the Ghanaian people would have to stand up and condemn government for these tariff increments. Thank you very much.
Okay, so thank you. Ranking member. My name is Oyene Ampons. I work for Adam FM TV. I want to find out, I know some of these things.
No, but the tree man.
Okay, so the question I want to put really is that, I know that some of these things, before it is done, there will be a number of consultations. And you are the committee. I know most of these policies and other arrangements will appear before you. Did they come to your committee? Did they appear to your committee? What was the discussion at the committee level before this action was taken? Did you oppose it during the committee at the committee level? Or what was the position at the committee level? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So we met PURC as a committee, and not just the committee. The minority leadership was part of that meeting, and including the majority leader. During that meeting, our leadership made it clear. We stated our position clearly that we were not in support of any increment at this time. Because you see, my colleagues have mentioned, they reiterated some of the reasons why we shouldn't increase tariffs at this time. One of the key reasons, if you remember, the time they were introducing the 1 cedi levy, one of the forceful arguments that they made was that our forex rate, the cedi depreciation, is part of the issues when it comes to calculation of tariffs. And because of the cedi depreciation, that's why we've incurred a lot of losses and so on. Apart from that, they don't have funds to buy fuel and all those things. So they are introducing 1 cedi levy to purchase fuel, and so that it will support the electricity sector, and then also use it to clear legacy debt. Today, we all know FX is down. So if FX as a component of the tariff, major component is down, inflation, which is also a major component, is down, why are you increasing tariffs? Why? These are questions we believe that you, the media and Ghanaians, should ask them. Why are you increasing tariffs? That's why when we met them, our leadership, led by our minority leader, Honorable Osahina Alexander Afenamakin, reiterated the point that we in the minority do not at this time support this increment, because it's going to stifle businesses, it's going to hurt SMEs, young businesses, industry, and so on. How do you expect to run a 24-hour economy when your tariffs are high? When in your own 24-hour policy that you are talking about reducing tariffs for industry, and you are increasing tariffs. Where lies the principle? And that's the question we want to ask them.
Okay. Yes, last one, and then we are done. Then we can go to the tree.
My name is James. I want to know, you raised two key issues: the increment, and then the issue about losses which need to be flagged in the system. I believe two institutions are responsible for this: the PURC as well as the Electricity Company of Ghana. When do you intend bringing them to offer some explanation to the committee of the House? Will you do that before the implementation in January, or you give them the time to consider withdrawing? If they do not after January, then you try them to?
Thank you. We already met them, and they've stated clearly some of the causes. As you mentioned, one of your colleagues mentioned it. Those who are not paying, some are the ministries, other governmental institutions, you see. So if we all know them, about maybe 5–10%, we all know. That is why we are calling on the government to come in to support, so that these losses will be thing of the past. So if the other ones are theft and then other things, that one we can use the security service to also, that's why I'm calling for a special task force in charge of these commercial losses operations within a year or two, because the way the government was chasing oppositions, writing, arresting them, saying they have been implicated in corrupt practice or something, they should use the same zeal to go after these losses, those who are defaulted, or I'm not saying defaulted, those who are stealing power.
Just a quick one. There are people who suggest that the Ministry of Finance should consider, even if it's about doing having backing from Parliament, to withhold some of this amount from the allocations to some of these ministries, agencies, and departments to pay to the ECD. Is this something?
Fine. Who can do that? It's government. So we are calling on government to help us arrest these commercial losses.
Thank you.
Okay. So thank you very much. We would let our brother Michael Danabe. Okay. So Michael will do the tree. Yeah. Right. So move one move about.
Abusafo.
Member of Parliament for Asene Manso Akroso, Honorable George Kwame Abuaje, addressing the press on behalf of the minority who are calling for a reversal on the increment in utility tariffs by the PURC. I'm joined in the studio by my colleague Nana Tufo Obuate. Nana Tufo. Shortly, a while ago on newsfeed, we spoke to Fabak, President, who is also calling for a reversal of the increment. The minority is also calling for a reversal of the increment. You have 9% for ECG and then 15% for water. What do you make of all of this?
I mean, if you look at the time at which this increment is coming and the justification by the PURC, it is only fair and just that you would have institutions, including CSOs, come against the PURC and insist that indeed there is a reversal of same. The first to go against the PURC was the TUC, who have actually threatened a series of actions following a meeting they are yet to have. So we await the outcome of that particular meeting. But if you look at the justification for the increment as given by the PURC, and you had the ranking on the Energy Committee of Parliament, who is also MP for Asene Manso Akroso, also touch on two of them. If you look at the yearly tariff reviews, inflation plays a significant part, and then the FX also plays a significant part. Now, the increases are coming at a point where we've seen a significant downward trend. In both cases, FX is going down. Inflation is in its single digit. So one wonders where the justification really is for them. But then you can look at the operational cost, especially for water, as a result of illegal mining. Now they are spending more to purify water for us to consume. Then you take the ECG, which of course has a similar problem with Ghana Water because of losses. You're looking at two ends of the losses: technical losses, commercial losses. And then for the technical losses, it can be really there's a system where it can be traced, and that's the more reason why some persons are advocating for privatization of electricity, the distribution end of power supply in this country, because the generation is done, but then from the supply point to the consumption point is where the losses are, if you like, recorded. And these are in two folds: the technical bit and then the commercial bit. The commercial bit is where people are consuming power without paying, basically. And it's where illegal connections are ongoing. And then you have the technical bit where along the transmission lines, due to, if like the obsolete equipment or transmission equipment or machines being used, we are recording some of these losses. And so clearly, there's a major problem that needs to be dealt with, and not necessarily almost always all the time increasing utility tariffs. And we've had a number of agencies kick against this particular increase. It's the yearly increase set to take effect in January of 2026. We've had TUC, Fabag, who you spoke with earlier on newsfeed. Now the minority. I have heard the Consumer Protection Agency, CPA, also speak against it. So clearly there's going to be a number of such engagements, press conferences, press releases, press statements condemning this particular increase and calling for a reversal of same.
Do you think the PRC will be able to take an action on this demand by the minority for a reversal or a hold to this increment? Well,
you noticed that a question posed by one of the journalists that they just ended press briefing had to do with the level of engagement between the PURC and its stakeholders, and this particular time in question, the minority caucus, and whether or not they had engaged the PURC even at the committee level, the energy committee level. The answer was yes. And so what you glean from that is that sometimes the facts as presented to, the technical facts as presented to some of these committees who do actual technical work regarding tariff increases, they're different for what is put out there. So it makes the communication around some of these things quite a bit difficult. Maybe Mr. Obute of the PURC would have to come out and do some proper if you like, sensitization regarding the price adjustments and how they come by it. But we know that there was a committee which had Nanaya Jantua of the presidency on. I think I heard her speak a couple of times prior to this major announcement. I think they went around trying to do some sensitization. But from where I stand and how I look at it, it will be very difficult for the PURC to make a reversal on this. We live in a country where prices always go up and never come down.
Never comes down.
So,
well, thank you so much. Nana Tufo Boyton is my colleague here at ChannelOne TV and City FM. We just brought you the press conference by the minority. They're asking the government to halt the intended increment of utility tariffs, which takes effect from January 2026. I'm Hawa Idrisi Mustafa. Keep watching ChannelOne TV.